So
So
let's talk about the Dais. This has been kind of an interesting summer for you as far as having a new superintendent, and now you find that he's sitting at the dais with you. Can you talk a little bit about your feelings on what's happening and what do you see coming down the pipeline as far as this?
yeah, so it was our first meeting as with the new superintendent, and I was shocked that when I showed up to the board meeting that he was already on the dais.
I'd like to address this concerning change that was communicated via email without board discussion or approval regarding Superintendent Latzenheiser's decision to move onto the dais during board meetings.
And this hadn't been discussed. The only way we found out is we got an email that that's where he'd be sitting, and so I had requested that it be a discussion item, an action item, so that we can discuss it as a board. It was told to us that our board president approved it, and that's how it was going to be, and that's not how it works. So it was brought as a discussion item.
Blurring that line diminishes the role of elected office and falsely suggests equal standing between administrators and the board. This can also embolden superintendents to overstep their role or assert influence inappropriately, which seems to already be happening.
I had quite a bit to say about it because there has to be a separation between those of us who were voted in to represent the community and those that are supposed that work for the district administration that then takes what the board implements that the board approves and then they implement it. And unfortunately, there are a lot of districts that do have their superintendent on the dais, and I think that that line very easily gets blurred as to who's who and who does what. And the whole point was, oh, for teamwork and collaboration. Well, teamwork teamwork and collaboration haven't stopped just because of the superintendent sitting at with the administrative team versus the board. Um, we we are the checks and balances as the board members. We're the checks and balances between the administration and the public, and so it's important for us uh, to respect the roles and um, to hold ourselves accountable to the community. And I think I'm not sure if you saw Diane Douglas's article, and she stated it very clear. Like I think we've many of us have forgotten what our role is, and don't take our role seriously enough to know that we are there to represent the community.
I'm proud of this district, and I know we have great things in store to support our students, teachers, and community. If you truly meant that, then show it by respecting the governing process, the separation of roles, and the voices of every member on this board.
The superintendent is not an elected official. They're not equal to the board. They report to the board, and they are part of the administrative team, and that they need to be with their team. We as board members aren't invited to the superintendent's meetings, and so and rightfully so. That's the superintendent's meeting. This is a board meeting. Like, did we forget that this is a board meeting, which means it's the board that should be front and center. The board, and maybe they don't understand the purpose of a board meeting, but the only reason the administration is there is to provide us information so that we can make decisions based on the information that they provide and be able to ask questions or for more information. But it's not an administrative meeting. It's a board meeting. So
What do you foresee happening at the next meeting?
um, I don't know. As of just a few days ago, I looked and it was requested that we table it and bring it back at the next meeting. So it looks like it's still on the agenda. I did have a conversation with our superintendent, and my board is very divided. And I think that, as far as I could speak for myself, uh, everything I do is to ensure that the students in our district have the best education possible, and everything is for student focused, community focused, or taxpayer focused, which is who we represent. And they tend to make what I say political when nothing. My intention is not political. It's to ensure that people understand what our role is as board members. We're beholden to the community. One of my board meetings, we talked about being ambassadors. That's what ASBA teaches. Like, you have to be an ambassador for your district. Our role is to be ambassadors for the parents, for our students, and
The taxpayers.
right, yeah, and so it's the superintendent's job to be ambassador for the district, and so that's where the lines are clear, and I think it has a lot to do with training, and so this idea that all the districts around us are doing it, then we should do it too. And I watch every board meeting afterwards, in case there's something I missed, and there's this theme. Well, this school district does it, this one does it. Well, there's a lot of things that other districts do that are great. For instance, Scottsdale got rid of sexually explicit books. How about we take those things on versus, things like this? I don't see that happening, right? And so just because we teach our kids, like, hey, if everybody's jumping off a bridge, you don't follow them. And here we are setting the opposite example as board members.
It's funny you say that because I watch a lot of city meetings, especially out in the West Valley, and they do that. It's, Surprise is doing it, Glendale is doing it. Oh, so Goodyear and Buckeye should be doing these things. And sometimes you think, like, what are they thinking? Have
Yeah,
they, just because someone else is doing it doesn't make it right for
yeah.
your area. I wanted to ask you, what is behind the push for a superintendent to be on the dais, and who's behind it? Are there organizations behind it, or is this just sounds like a great idea, let's do it too?
It also raises the question of whether this shift is being influenced by the Superintendent Association. I would like to understand what specifically led our superintendent to pursue sitting at the dais. If this decision is connected to mentorship or advice from organizations like ASA or AASA, I would strongly encourage him to reconsider. That approach does not reflect the kind of governance or leadership we value or need here in Higley.
We had a representative from the Superintendent Association attend one of our meetings, and he brought up that the superintendent should be sitting at the dais. And I thought, oh, yeah, no, that's not a good idea. Plus, I was like, who are you, and why would you even recommend that? So yes, the superintendent associations, I believe there's two in Arizona, that's what they tell superintendents. You should be sitting at the dais. It's inappropriate. It doesn't, the looks of it is terrible. And then I went back and watched my meeting, and now you can see the camera has to sit further back to squeeze now 6 people into the frame. And so you can't see facial expressions anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that changes things too, because watching board meetings, facial expressions speak volumes, and that, you know, that changes things, and I don't like that either. So we'll see. I mean, I have no faith that it would be, you know, logical, common sense vote. But you know, they make everything political.
For all these reasons, I cannot and will not support Superintendent Latzenheiser moving to the dais. It is not only disrespectful to the board and our community, it also undermines the very structure of our representative system and disrespects the role of the rest of the administration who continue to sit appropriately off the dais. And just because it is done elsewhere doesn't mean it's right for Higley. We should lead with principle, not follow trends. Thank you.